everybody, in this video we are gonna discuss some of the important questions based on list manipulation. But before we actually start working on it, let's go through the basic concepts of list. List is also an important data types available in Python. It contains a list of elements which are separated by comma. The elements can be of mixed type and it is enclosed in a square bracket. And here is the most important property. Lists are mutable. Mutable means we can change the content in place. We have already studied that string is immutable. We cannot change the individual character of the string. But in case of list, we can change the individual element of the list in place. Now how to access the individual elements? To access the individual elements of the list, we follow the same concept as string. And that we will be doing with the help of index. We can do forward indexing as well as backward indexing. Here are some of the operators which we can apply on list just like string. Plus is used for concatenating two lists. Asterisk can be used as a replication operator. Even we can use membership operator in and not in case of list. Now what about slicing? It exactly works as string. There are three different parts followed by the name of the list. First is start, which indicates the starting index. The second is the ending index and third is step. All three parts are optional. End and step is exclusive. If you don't mention start, it will be 0. If you don't mention end, it will consider the whole list. And by default, the value of the step is 1. We know that our task will be very easy if you know the functions and methods associated with that particular data type. So here is the list of the functions and methods which we can apply on the list. Hope you are familiar with all those functions and methods. If not, I will suggest you to go through this video which is already uploaded in the playlist in which we have covered all these functions and methods in detail. Whenever we talk about any data type or any data structure, there are some fundamental manipulations which we will be doing on that data structure. We create, we add the element, we delete, search, sort and merging. Same concept will be applicable to list also. We can append the item. For that we have two functions, append and extend. Append functions append a single item to the list, whereas the extend is used for appending list of the elements. If you want to insert the element at the specified index, for that we will be using insert method. As list is mutable data type, we can modify the content or edit it by using assignment operator. And for deleting the elements, there are different options. You can use pop method to delete an element using its index. Remove is used for deleting the element using its value. And there is a del statement too. We can even sort the elements of the list. For that we have one sort function. There is one more function named sorted. Hope you know the difference between sort and sorted. Alright, we have gone through the basic concepts of the list. Now it's time to discuss the important questions. You may get different types of questions which can be theory questions which will be based on the functions as well as methods. So make sure you are clear with it. Along with theory questions, you may get MCQs. You may even get the question where you need to predict the output of the given code. Similar to string, you may get questions based on slicing in case of list too. Okay, then here is the first question. Let's check out. You need to guess the output of the following code. Here is the list of the colors. Look at the following statements. The first statement is the del statement. Using del statement, we can remove the item or delete the item using the given index. So here are the indices of all the elements. At the index 4, we have color black, so that will get deleted. Now let's check the second statement. Using remove method, we can remove the element. Here we mentioned the name of the element. The element is pink color, so that will get deleted from the list. Let's move ahead to the next statement. Here is a pop method. We need to delete the item which is at the index 3. But let's check the updated one after deleting two elements from the list. Let's write the index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. At the index 3 we have white. In the last statement we are printing the list. In this way, after deleting 3 elements, this will be the final list. This was quite simple. Hope you understood the explanation. Moving ahead to the next question. If you know the answer, I will suggest you to pause the video and try it yourself. Here is a given list. We need to write the Python command for the following instructions. The first instruction is we need to add the element 30 at the end of the list. End of the list means we need to append an item. For that we have append method that we will be using. Append 30. The name of the list is L. So L dot append. What's the second instruction? We need to insert 12 at the second position. To insert any element to the list at the specified index, we can use insert method. What's the syntax? The first parameter is index. According to the instruction, it is mentioned as second position. Second position means the index will be 1 and the second parameter is nothing but the element. Alright, let's check out the third instruction. We need to delete element 15. We already know there are 3 options to delete an item from the list. The first is pop, the second is remove and the third one is del statement. But here we need to work on the element, not on the index. For that we can use remove method. So the correct command will be L dot remove and in the bracket we need to mention the element. So here is our final answer. Hope you understood this explanation. These questions were based on the functions and the methods associated with list. Alright, this third question is also based on the same category. Here is one list with 3 elements. We need to tell what will be the output of these functions. The first is max and the second one is min. Max function will return the maximum element from the list. Now what is the maximum element? If the elements of the list are in the string format, then the characters will get compared. Look at the individual string of the list. All 3 strings contain capital W as a first letter. All 3 letters are same, then how we will get the maximum? In that case, we will shift to the second character. The second character is also same. Then let's move ahead to the third character. In the first string we have E and in the second string we have O. We already have an idea how the characters are get compared. They compared based on their Unicode value or we can say ASCII value. The ASCII value of E is smaller than the ASCII value of O. It means O has the higher ASCII value than E. Now let's check this O with the another E and we know O has the higher ASCII value. It means out of these 3, WHO, who string has the maximum value. The output of the first statement will be who. Now let's check for the second statement. We need to find out the minimum element of the list. We know that who is not a minimum element. Then out of these 2, which one will be the minimum element from the list? When we look at these 2 strings, the first 3 elements are same. Now let's check out the fourth letter. The fourth letter is N in the first string and in the third string we have R. According to the ASCII value, N will be less than the R. Ultimately, when will be the minimum element of the list? So here is the output of these statements. Hope you understood this explanation too. Proceeding to the next question. If you can solve this yourself, pause the video. This is based on the nested list. Before attempting any question, look at the question carefully. Here is one nested list. We need to tell the values which will get stored in the place 1 and place 2 variable. Hope you know the concept of nested list. When we write one list within another list, it is called as nested list. With these statements, we are trying to access the individual elements of the nested list. How to access it? First, let's write the index. This is at the 0th position. The second element will be having index 1. Now for the next index, we have the nested list. So the index of this whole list will be 2. Look at this nested list. It has total 4 elements. So again the index will start from 0. It has index 1, here is the index 2 and this is nothing but 3. And to access the individual element of the nested list, we will be using multi-dimensions. In the first square bracket, we will write this index because we are trying to access the element which is at index 2. And suppose if I want to access Mysuru which is at the index 1, so we will write 1. So with this technique we access the individual element. Now look at the indices mentioned here, 2 and minus 1. Minus 1 means we are trying to access the elements in the reverse direction of the list which is mentioned here. This is nothing but the nested list. So how we will write the negative indexing? It will start with minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and minus 4. In this nested list at minus 1 we have city Delhi. It means in the place 1 we will get Delhi. Now you can easily tell me which city we are referring with the index 2, 0. 2 means we are referring this nested list, and at the 0th index we have city Mumbai. But always be careful with the question. We are not storing city, we are calculating the length of that city. So the number of characters in a Mumbai are 6. So we will get 6 in a place 2 variable. Hope with this question you understood the concept of nested list. Alright, the next question is based on slicing. You will surely get slicing question based on string, tuple or list. And this question would be very easy for you because already we have discussed slicing in case of string 2. It means I am not gonna solve this question for you. This is an assignment. Let me know the answer in the comments. With that, we are moving ahead to the next category of the questions in which you will have the code and you need to predict the output of that code. Try to understand the code carefully, and if it is difficult, please make dry run table. Alright, let's figure out the code. Here is an empty list. There is a for loop which will execute from 1 to 10. 1 to 10 means it will execute from 1 to only 9. It means the value of I will be 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Let's come inside the code. With if we have some condition, and this is very easy. I modulus 2 is equals to 0 means we are checking for the numbers which are even numbers. If the numbers are even, we are adding it to the list. So 2 will get added to the list, then 4 will get added. In this way 6 will get added and 8 will get added to the list. After coming out of the for loop, we are printing the list. You know which elements are in the list. Ultimately, we know the correct option is A. If we look at the other options, the comma is not mentioned, but we know the list elements are separated by comma, and using end parameter, we are suppressing \n2, so it will get printed in a same line. Here is one more code and we need to predict the output. Understand the code carefully. The previous question was simple, that's why we did not draw the dry run table. But if it is complicated, you must do it. Alright, look at the code. There are two lists. Here is the list 1 and here is the list 2. We can see for loop which is executing from 1 to 3. 1 to 3 means it will execute from 1 to 2. And inside the loop, we are changing the elements of the list. I am not gonna take the risk. Here is the dry run table. Let's figure out the values in each pass. In the pass 1, the value of I will be 1 because this loop is getting executed from 0 to 1. In the pass 1, the value of I will be 1 because it will start with 1. What exactly we are doing here? We are accessing the element of the list A which is at the index I. The value of I is 1 means A of 1 is nothing but 4. We are adding 1 to 4. It will be 5. But where it is getting initialized? A of I minus 1. I is nothing but 1. 1 minus 1 will be 0. It means A of 0 becomes 5. So with that you know what happened. We changed the first element of the list A. List is mutable. We can change the individual elements of the list in place. Original list will get changed. Now look at the values in the pass 2. The next value of I will be 2. Now which element we have at the index 2? It is nothing but 6. 6 plus 1 will be 7. It will get initialized to A of I minus 1. I is 2. 2 minus 1 will be 1. So 7 will get placed at the first position. This loop is going to execute only 2 times. So let's write the last element as it is. In this way we executed the first for loop. Now let's check out for the second for loop. This loop is going to execute from 0 to 3. 0 to 3 means it will execute from 0 to 2. It means here are the values of I, 0, 1 and 2. Ultimately it will execute for 3 times. Inside the for loop we are printing list A. We know the list A got modified. Here are the updated elements of the list A. The first element will get printed. This is nothing but 5. Then we have mentioned dash as a end parameter. So we will get dash here, or you can say hyphen also. The next element is nothing but 7. So 7 get displayed. Again hyphen will get printed. After that the last element is 6. After printing 6 also hyphen will get displayed. So here is the output of this code. You can try to execute yourself using dry run table. It's time to move ahead to the next question. You need to guess the correct output. Pause the video and try it yourself. To solve this type of questions, I would highly recommend you to draw the dry run table. Then it will be very easy to guess the output. Alright, let's try to understand the code. Here is one nested list. This is the first element of the nested list. Here is the second element of the nested list. So at index 1. And here is the nested list which is at index 2. Look at the for loop. It is getting executed in the range of length of L1. Length of L1 means the number of elements in the L1. There are total 3 elements. So the length will be 3. It means this loop will get executed from 0 to 3. 3 is exclusive. Ultimately it is getting executed from 0 to 2. How come we got 0? As starting is not mentioned, the default value is 0. Let's draw the table to avoid the confusion. We understood the values of I. It will be 0, 1 and 2. It means the loop will execute for 3 times. Using print statement, we are printing the length of L1 of I. It means what? We are printing the length of each elements of the list. So these values we will be getting. In the pass one, the value of I will be 0. If we place the value of I as 0, we are calculating the length of L1 of 0. At the index 0, we have the element sunlight, and the length of sunlight is nothing but 8. In the next pass, the value of I will be 1. If we place here 1, means we are calculating the length of L1 of 1. At the index 1, we have this nested list. And using len function, we calculate the number of elements of the list. We know in this list there are total 4 elements. So, we got 4. Now, the value of I will become 2. Again, same approach. We are calculating the number of elements of the list. There are total 3 elements. So, ultimately we will get 3. As a first element we had string, that's why we counted the number of characters. But as a second and third element we have lists, so we will calculate the number of elements. In this way I think we understood what output we will get. First 8 will get printed, then 4 and then 3. That too in a new line because we are not using here any end parameter. Now let's come to the else part of the for loop. After the successful completion of the for loop, we will come to the else part. Look at the insert method. We are trying to insert one list at the index 1. Alright, that we understood. Let's check the second statement. Using pop method, we are deleting the element of the list 1. If you don't mention anything, last element will get deleted. But what is the last element? After the insertion of this element also, last element will not get changed. Ultimately, this is the last element. It means what will get popped? This whole list will get popped. Remember that pop method returns the deleted item and that we are printing. It means we will get that whole list. Ultimately, here is the final output. This list is the popped element of the list. Hope you understood this explanation. Try it yourself. Ma'am, one more question. I was the topper of the college and same expectations I have from you. You should not lose 1 mark also. With this question, one more important concept regarding list we are gonna explore. Alright, let's check out the code first. Here is one list which is initialized in a variable t. In the second statement, t is getting initialized to t1. It means what? We are creating a copy of the list. But if you know, there are two types of copies of the list. One is shallow copy and one is deep copy. Tell me which type of copy is getting created here. If you know that, then only you can solve this question. Alright, that we will discuss. Let's move ahead to the third statement. T of 0 equals to a means we are trying to change the first element of the list t. And using these print statements, we are printing both the list t and t1. Now what will be the output? Let's try to understand. We have one list t with 4 elements. The elements are 1, 2, 3 and 4. T got initialized to t1. It means what? T1 is also referring to the same list. With this assignment statement or initialization, we create one shallow copy. Shallow copy means both the variables are pointing to the same list. New lists did not get created. If we are changing in the original list, the changes will reflect to the copied one too. With this statement, we modified the element which is at the index 0. Now you can guess the output. If we will print t and t1, what we will get? Very good. We will get the output as C. This is the first list T and this is the second list T1. Both the variables are pointing to the same list. If we will change the element in the original list, it will get reflected in the copied one too. But this is not the case with the deep copy. Two different lists will get created in the memory locations. We discussed different categories of the questions which you will get on the list. But this is also one category in which you need to remove the syntax error and rewrite the code. This is very simple. You can also try it yourself. In the first statement, bracket is missing. Second statement looks correct. In the third statement, we write the index in a square bracket with the del statement. So this is the second mistake. In the fourth statement, we can see the syntax is wrong. First of all, we need to mention the name of the list followed by dot, then name of the method. In bracket also, we first write the index, then comma and then the element. With this, we got the third error. Now, look at the last statement. This is also syntactically wrong. On the left hand side, we write the variable name and on the right hand side, we write the expression. So, correct it. I think we have covered maximum category of the questions, but you may also get the theory questions based on the functions and the methods. So here is the first question. You need to tell the two differences between pop and remove method. It will be easy if you write it in a tabular form. Whichever two differences you want, you can go ahead with it. For safer side, write 3. Pop method is used to remove the element but using index, whereas in case of remove we need to write the value. Here is the syntax. If you want, you can write it. By default, pop removes the last element, but with the remove you have to write the value. There is no default value. This is also one of the important difference. Pop method returns the removed element, but remove method doesn't return anything. If you will try to print it, you will get none. Here is the second theory question in which you need to tell the differences between sort and sorted. The first difference is sort is a method whereas sorted is a function. Hope you know the difference between method and function. When function associate with any object, it becomes method. Even there will be a difference in writing the syntax. This sort method is associated with list, that's why it become method. But functions we don't write in this way. We write the name of the function, in bracket we mention the data type. Alright, now let's look at the usage. It sorts the list but in place. It means it will modify the original list. But in case of sorted function, it will create new sorted list. It will not modify the original one. We know that sort method modifies the original list, that's why it will not print anything. We need to print the original list to check the changes. But we know the sorted function creates a new list, so we can print it. There are some more differences, you can go through it. Now this is one of the important question related to list. What is the difference between deep copy and the shallow copy? We already discussed it in short. So here are the features of the deep copy. When we try to copy any list, new memory location gets created. It means there will be a different new list. That's why if you change anything in the original list, it will not affect the new one or the copied one. Using list method, using copy method or using slicing, you can create a deep copy. Then what about shallow copy? If using assignment operator you are creating copy of the list, both the variables actually points to the same list. That's why if you change something in one list, it will reflect to the copied one too. Hope you understood the difference between deep copy and the shallow copy. So with that, let's wrap this video. Hope you got the clear understanding of the questions which can be asked on the list. In case you want me to solve any question for you, please let me know in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, do share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In the next video, we will practice some important questions based on the list. So until next time, stay curious, stay healthy. I will see you in the next video.